for someone who's trying to turn $300 into $10,000.
Yeah.
Vibe code something as fast as possible.
100%. It's more the people that are vibe coding the apps don't necessarily know to ask the question of, is this secure or not secure?
We are live. Welcome to Helium's Hot Air Show. My name is Benjamin Thornburg, and beside me is a man who was a Mariners fan long before they were cool, Matt Thompson.
Have they ever been cool?
Helium's Hot Air Show.
They're cool now. People like random
That's true.
people.
That's true. It's an exciting year, but you know, as a Mariners fan, I'm ready to be let down.
It's a long season of ups and downs.
In lots of downs.
Just
lots of downs.
We have a great show for you today. Matt is here to talk about vibe-coded apps on the Shopify App Store. We'll get to that, but first we've got some big Shopify news, and finally we're going to finish up the episode with a tip to help our merchants build trust with their customers, because trust equals sales and retention, and it's just a big, beautiful thing. So there's a tip at the end for that. Stay tuned. But first, the news. Tinker is live, baby.
It is live. We were playing around with it earlier.
We were definitely using some serious tokens playing with Tinker. If you don't know, Tinker was promised in editions back in December for editions 2026, and it's finally here. A lot of things are finally coming to fruition that were promised back in editions, so we're going to keep you all up to date on that. What is Tinker? It's a conglomerate of AI apps that are trained on Shopify-specific tasks.
More or less, yeah. I mean, I only played around with the results, but it kind of looks like it's a predefined prompts to help refine the results that you're going to get that are really good for e-commerce.
Yeah, so it was pitched in editions as a springboard, or if you have ideas, and there was a whole thing about dressing your dog up in costumes, which was really interesting. It's only been a day that it has been released to the public. I'm going to give you a few use cases that you can just take home right now. One of them is, if you have products that you've just taken pictures of and you'd like to see them in different settings, you can do this already in Shopify using Sidekick, so that isn't revolutionary. What is that, let's say you have a shirt and you'd like to see them on models in super specific settings. It's a great use for that using the Product Lifestyle Shot app, but... and here's the one up that kind of blew my mind a little bit. You can go to the social media ad generator. These are names of the apps. They call them apps, but Brett Shelley was arguing that tools would be a better...
yeah, it's probably a better name
for them. So Shopify, as usual, on the names, a little bit lacking there, bud.
From a technical standpoint.
It's true.
Most people don't care what tools.
So you have your shirt. Put that picture into the social media ad generator, and you can see someone talking about the shirt while wearing the shirt, and it's really crazy the results that we were seeing in the office. So that's a great use case. If you have like a cup or something, you can have them talking to the camera about the cup, things that they like about it. And I say they with quotations because these people don't exist.
Whoever they are.
What a world we live in. The next use case is if you have a bunch of products that you need name suggestions for, you can upload the pictures of your products and it'll give you name options. Not only will it give you name options, I did this. I took a picture of something at Costco the other day. It was like butterbeer goldfish. And I just...
they looked good.
There's goldfish for everyone out there. We're not sponsored by them, but yes, I've been eating those since I was 4. Anyway, I just uploaded that image, and not only did it give me a bunch of names, it gave me different fonts and pictures and why the name worked. So if you're someone who is the visionary on products, but you're not that great with names, this is a great place to go. You can drop those in. It's a great use case for that. Tinker is on the App Stores, mobile only right now, iOS and Google App Store. There is a little bit of a clunky disconnect in that it's not directly connected to Shopify like Sidekick is. So where Sidekick is seamless and beautiful and powerful, and you can just grab it and use it on your store, change themes, or make all these changes live, this is a little bit clunkier. You have to upload it. You have to download it. So there's a little bit more of a step there, but it's a great place to use a bunch of, as of this taping, free tokens. You can just hammer this thing and just have it generate things for you. you.
sure they're saying, please don't hammer it. But,
Yeah.
what I really like about it is that it works as a kind of a brainstorming tool, that we're still able to use kind of these live models, like for your product images. But at the same time, you can kind of get a bunch of the headway through of like what styles do you want, and you can experiment a lot faster, which we'll probably get into when we talk about vibe coded apps.
Speaking of faster.
Yeah. Because this is kind of the thing I really like about AI is that it gets the preview up in front of you much faster than you could beforehand, and you can still brainstorm and come up with your own unique ideas, and you're not necessarily just taking whatever AI gives you.
That's a great segue into our next section here, which is vibe-coded apps. Matt, I'm excited to have you talk about that today because we've seen a huge shift on the Shopify app ecosystem. I'm going to hit you with some stats from a report by Alan Malcoach, and namely Q1 2026 this year, 126 apps per week entered Shopify's app store. Since 2020, Shopify, so in the last 6 years, Shopify's app store has seen a 573% increase in the number of apps on the app store.
Just a little bit.
Just a tiny bit.
Just
So
a
the
little
first
bit.
question, Matt, is the app store dead?
No, it'll never be dead. I mean, similar with Apple App Store. All the app stores, it's always about being able to curate the best apps. Sometimes letting a bunch in is the best way to do it, and sometimes being a little bit harsher is a different way to do it. So not dead, just it's going to be a different landscape.
What is vibe coding and how is it affecting the app store?
Yeah, so I mean, everyone kind of has their own unique definition of vibe coding. It's really, what is your vibe about vibe coding kind of deal. So the way I tend to refer to vibe coding is only typing in your prompt and not looking a lick at the code. Don't care about how it's designed. Don't really care about the database. All you want is the results.
What are some consideration that vibe-coded apps don't have that a traditional development team would have top of mind?
Really, maintainability is a big one. With the advent of the AI-generated code, and there's some people saying that about 70 to 90% of all code is AI-generated, but this does become a lot harder to maintain over time. I don't know if you've ever seen, this is a little bit nerdy, but I don't know if you've ever seen a server rack that has all the Ethernet cords going into it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen that
yeah.
before.
Some
Like in the Matrix, kind of. Yep.
Sometimes it's a real nice, all organized, and sometimes it's a ball of spaghetti. So some of the way that AI likes to do it's a little bit more that ball of spaghetti.
Interesting. So what I'm hearing is that if you're looking at an app that's developed by a team of app developers that have been working on Shopify, they're going to do things to simplify, to make sure these wires are straight in the code, so that way when Shopify makes a change, deprecates a certain API or does something that they can easily grab a wire, find the one that they want, and plug it into the right rack that has been changed, versus vibe coding where it's much more, anytime you guys talk about it in the office, and this is just me, dumbest person in the room as always, It feels like they talk about vibe coding and this giant AI codes as more of like a Jenga type situation where if something gets pulled from the bottom, some change happens to a system, it just kind of bloop. And that would mean to a Shopify merchant that your app that you depended on to collect customer emails, or that app that you depended on to display your sales banner, just breaks.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I'm curious about long term of with this 500+% increase in apps, of how many of those are going to be maintainable long term. Shopify is always coming out with new features, and sometimes they work seamlessly with what we've done, and sometimes they take a little bit bigger overhaul. You don't always quite know, but if your code's designed well, sometimes that overhaul really is kind of more plug and play or just adding on a little bit. With some of these vibe-coded apps, I'd be curious to know how long-term that they continue to work. Shopify is growing all the time, and they're needing to work with larger customer bases, and they have to let their tech stack accomplish that. So it will be interesting to see how the long term of this new app store goes.
Yeah, just to add to that, to peel behind the curtain a little bit. If you have an established app that you're using for your store, and the majority of Shopify stores do, every time Shopify updates something, like Matt saying, we have to go in as developers, not me, as developer companies and make sure that our current code aligns with this new change. If you're just spitting apps out as fast as humanly possible and vibe coding it, what's to say when a change happens and they look at the you guys always say tech debt, where you look at the cost of keeping your app up to date and on the list. There's a high probability you'll be like, sweet, let's just kill this one, make a new one, and carry on. So that's kind of the danger that we're seeing with these vibe coded apps. Again, some of this is theoretical down in the future, and some of this is stuff that we're already seeing now.
One thing I am concerned with the vibe coded apps is, hey, I've spent $300 in tokens. I've made my 10 grand. I'm good. We'll just ride that app into the sunset. It doesn't really matter how it's going to go, because the return on investments, probably pretty good for the app developer. So I'd spend $300 to get 10,000.
Yeah.
But what that means for merchants long term, again, where we're talking long term, still some to be determined there of what's super valuable. And I'm sure other developers want to maintain their standing on the App Store. So it might not always be the case, but just something I want to keep an eye out for.
Yeah, and I really don't think Shopify will. I think there's going to be a shift. I think this is as far up as the tide goes. It could go up higher, but the thing that I hear all the time is when people switch from WordPress to Shopify, they adore not having to constantly update every single little plugin on their website. That's just like, oh, you need to do this manually and click that every single time and then hope that it works, or sometimes it doesn't. We have to revert, go back to this. I don't think Shopify's set up for that, and so I really hope that they're clever enough that this is as high as the tide goes, and they start coming in and saying, look, your app needs to pass this or else. For a Shopify merchant, there is one thing that you can do to protect yourself, and that is to look at the reviews. Any app with less than 5 reviews, you can click on who developed the app. It's going to take you an extra 20 seconds. That's 20 seconds that could save you however many hundreds, thousands of dollars worth of sales if something breaks and a headache down the road. Take a look at it. Is this an established development company? Is this something that just came up and has been established in 2026, 2025, something like that? There are good apps that are new, and even companies that have come out, or people in their basement doing that, which is great, that actually care about the code, know what's going on. That all goes back to the definition that Matt said. Vibe coding is spitting something out and not caring about the code or knowing how it works. And that's the scary bit, is that if you're committing your store's trust to something like that, that's where we could get into trouble.
Because I think there are plenty of non-technical people. I mean, let's take yourself, for example. I would doubt no bit that you could vibe code a pretty good app, that you could, the platform well enough that you'd probably get good amount of the way. It's just that last 10% that might stick.
I like the analogy of plugging in the wires. Like, it's just like that to me makes a lot of sense, because it is just like, what the heck does this do? Like, when you guys talk about Matt's big back end, and it's crazy. It's a different world. And so to have a professional who's paid to do it and understands what's going on behind the hood, it's the difference between taking your car to your cousin to get it fixed, or taking your car to a mechanic shop where they have all the tools.
Sometimes your cousin might get that oil change great, but there's probably that critical engine replacement that you should take it to a certified technician.
Right. And I think that's what we're seeing, is that someone who can change the oil now has the power to
get closer to that engine replacement. It's
Yeah.
closer. It's much closer than it used to be.
And if it works, awesome. But if it doesn't, the troubleshooting of that is just a nightmare, because you've never rebuilt an engine before. So there's another metaphor for everyone. Helium spends a lot of time and money to be SOC 2 certified.
Yes.
Why do we do that?
We are dealing with customer data, and it's really important to us that we're handling that well. No merchant's going to want to hear from us that we leaked out 10,000 emails. So we are definitely doing our best in every regard to make sure that there's no bad actors getting access to people's shopping history.
Yeah, that's again, I bring that up because it is the difference between a company that is committed to stand behind what they make, and also not just what we make, but we're standing behind you as a customer and saying, we have earned your trust. We want to keep your trust. We want to be as safe as we possibly can out there, knowing there are bad actors out there. And that's a consideration that might not necessarily be top of mind for someone who's trying to turn $300 into $10,000, vibe code something as fast as possible.
100%. The security aspect of the vibe coding part is, it's not that you couldn't vibe code a secure app, more or less. It's more the people that are vibe coding the apps don't necessarily know to ask the question of, is this secure or not secure? Or what are the basic standard practices? Again, if you're taking someone non-technical, they don't even know the first question to ask to make sure that they're getting the right protections behind it. If I talked about how to store a password correctly, first place to start.
In your pocket, write it down, put it in the drawer.
Yeah, not sure. Yeah, so it's as long as you're not like the basic, like, let's at least not store it in clear text. I would worry that some of the vibe coded apps might see some of that in their training data and say, well, this is just the normal practice. Again, most of the time AI is pretty good about not doing that. When you don't have an experienced developer behind the scenes, you're not able to double check whether that is true or not.
Talk about our considerations. We're always listening to feedback. We're always trying to improve our app for that. Is that something you would see as another potential kind of pitfall of a vibe coded app?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking at reviews coming in, trying to get customer feedback, looking through how features are getting used, as far as who's using what feature. Just, is this thing that we thought was interesting? Maybe it's not all that interesting. So one thing that I think differentiates an app like ours versus a vibe coded one is that we have a bunch of people that care about the product. We've invested a lot of our own time and energy in making it good, just like you've invested a lot of time and energy in your shop to making it just the way you want. That's my concern with the vibe coded apps, is it's probably looking for, that side hustle, make a quick buck and move on.
And maybe it's not even that if you're vibe coding that you don't care about that.
Yeah.
It's just, it takes a lot of time and energy. Like
it does.
Going through and seeing how customers have used the apps and following the mice around and figuring out where people are getting lost on our onboarding stuff that we obsess about takes a lot of time.
Lots of time, lots of energy. One-stop shop getting these, if you're cranking out vibe coded apps, there's no way. I mean, just from a person standpoint, to be able to how to treat these apps, I'm sure someone's figured out this weird Ralph loop that looks at customer feedback and does a bunch, but
right.
On average, I'd assume that's probably not most standard.
Matt, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Huge wealth of knowledge. This is tip of the iceberg. That's fantastic. You'll be back.
It's a long road down AI. It's
kind of like a baseball season.
Whether we've reached the peak or we're in just starting the summit, we're still yet to find out.
We have yet to find. I'm hopeful. I'm like really, really hopeful. I'm like, please turn the faucet off, Shopify. It's okay. Tip of the week. This is one of the big. I struggle to say mistake because that sounds so negative. This is one of the big things that I see a lot when I'm popping around Shopify stores. You're not using a domain email. Your contact information is a Gmail account or, God forbid, a 90s AOL account.
Wow.
At AOL.
You got to show that off.
I guess now
it means
it's
you've
cool.
been around. Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
It's like the vinyl that you guys like. May as well play the vinyl.
Tell me you're old without telling me you're old. Just putting your birth date and your name at AOL. That's it. There it is. You can't be selling high-end items using a Gmail address for your contact page. You just can't. Don't do it. If you don't have an email domain, awesome. Go to settings in your admin, then find domain, and you can purchase one right there in your Shopify admin.
Oh, really?
Shopify. Yeah, it's
I
so
didn't know
cool.
they were a registrar. Okay.
They totally do. For $15, you can get like your own domain. Something like $15 a year.
Yeah, no, it's about right.
Totally worth it. Get your domain email. Shopify makes it super easy for you. Again, go to settings and then domain, and you walk through it right there. So,
and the larger you grow, the more you'll appreciate having that branding saved.
Yes.
Like having people pick up those URLs and those domains. I know some people who buy about 10 when they're about to start a site because they want to make sure that they've got it all. They got it all.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is your top tip for the week. Matt, thank you so much for having me on.
You're welcome.
Go M's. And
Go Mariners.
we'll see you all next time. Like, subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.